Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up faith. Viral moment as gay couple Photobomb Pope Leo St. Peter's Square celebration with gay kiss. The world watched last week as the Vatican TV broadcast the announcement of the new Pope Leo XIV. As the camera panned across the crowd at St. Peter's Square, two men saw their chance to make a statement and share a kiss on camera. The late Pope Francis was the most LGBTQ affirming Pope in the history of the Catholic Church. While Pope Leo had made statements against queer families back in 2012, his views seem to have since evolved, as it supported Pope Francis' initiative to allow the Church to perform same-sex blessings. You know, I think it's very interesting. This moment, this kiss, as we'll call it, wasn't just a photobomb. It was a prayer for visibility, for acceptance, and for a church that embraces all of God's children and for those of us in the LGBTQ community. It's a reminder that we belong not just in the pews, but in the heart of the sacred. Let's continue to show up and love boldly and believe that faith and queerness are not contradictions, but companions on the path of justice.
Pope Von! Pope Von!
There we go.
Pope Von! Oh, I love this. No, I love this.
Yeah.
And it took me back. I was talking to Edward about this before, about back during the Will and Grace times, right?
Yeah.
When Jack and Will took that kiss with Al Roper.
Yes.
You know, that was just like, and I remember that moment being so important, even though it wasn't real.
But
right?
that could have been the moment that inspired this, you know what I mean? And like, that's what people in our community will definitely like tune into those type of things.
Yes.
So yeah, kudos to that happening, you know, and we get to see it on a very large platform. So it's fantastic.
Yes. And, you know, and it was a sweet kiss.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like all tongue, ass grabbing like I usually kiss. You know what I mean? It was very very pretty, very, you know, I mean, and it was like, let's take this moment. This is our moment. Let's celebrate our love in such a wonderful, bountiful way, like in front of all these people for this extraordinary moment.
Right.
You know, like I'm not quick like that, right? Or I'd be like, oh, damn, the moment's over.
No, but that's what was sweet about it, is because, I mean, I just saw it for the first time tonight because it was on Vatican TV. It was not on national or international TV.
Of course it's not going to be on national
Well,
TV. It's
but I
only on
mean-
Queer News Tonight, folks.
I don't mean that. I mean, you know, but it originated on Vatican TV, which is a closed, you know,
Closed circuit TV.
closed circuit situation. But it was nice that it was, you know, it was sweet. It was gentle. You know, lucky your wife is lucky if how you kiss all the time is tongue and ass.
I mean, that's
but, you know,
should kiss.
I agree.
But that's not the place for that. That's
But
not the place.
no, but I mean, but it was respectful. It was genuine, and it was a celebration of, you know, we're celebrating the Pope, but yeah, we're also celebrating the love that we're in the moment of.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was so amazing about this. It wasn't in your face and gaudy and over the top. It was just like, we're celebrating a new Pope, and we have love in the space, and we're going to celebrate with each other.
And Vaughn, I want to take a moment to talk about your quote. Like, it's so beautiful. You know, like what were you sitting with that you wanted to write this?
It's that moment of visibility, because it's and it was innocent. It wasn't like you said. It wasn't a grabbing. It wasn't. And they're celebrating, and you know the church has made strides for the LGBTQ community, especially in the Catholic Church.
Right.
And it's a way to take the opportunity to let's celebrate that. And I think that's the innocent part about it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for this new Pope coming in. You know, we needed a win so desperately, you know. And
You think this is a win?
And I think it's going to be a possible win too. Yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody's really liking him, and you know, I've been seeing reactions from him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the MAGA people are not really enjoying it, so that kind of
makes
me like him a little more. So, you know, he may not be as like, you know, progressively, you know, transparent with around the LGBTQ plus community, but you know, it's okay. It seems like a man of peace. So
But I think the point is there's an important point. They're saying that since 2012, when at first he was hesitant, being around the late Pope Francis, that he's evolving. The fact that he's an American, I think, is you know, a good point, because the point has been made that, you know, he's not as dumb as the MAGAs would like him to think.
He speaks 5 languages. I think.
But for the American Catholic Church, that has always been really up in arms about gay this and gay that, you know, the fact that he's willing to at least consider a position at the altar or a position in the room during service for a gay child or a gay individual is important. And I think that the fact that he is from America, he's going to keep you know, the stories about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, you can't sit here and twist the words anymore because the man doesn't speak English as a
first language. That's his first language.
And so, you know, the MAGAs are having a meltdown because now the Pope can go, no, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and there's no lying about it.
Exactly.
So, you know, as a Reformed Catholic, I mean, I'm hopeful for a change.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to go to Sunday Mass, but at the same point, I'm at least hopeful that there's space at the table when I do go with my family.
And it gives us hope. It gives us hope, right? I mean, once we stop learning, we die.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And this gentleman is smart. He's articulate. I love that his multifaceted background, right? Like, I don't know if it's grandparents or whatever, you know, his time in Peru, Haitians are claiming him, Dominicans are claiming him, you know, the Black origin, like, you know, maybe he's less progressive, but he is open to change. He's open to learning. Like, that right there is a home run in our book when it comes to how some of the old popes thought about us.
And you know,
he said that we belong in the pews as well.
Yeah.
And that's important.
And he's continuing Pope Francis's message of immigration is good, poverty is not. We need to respect the poor. We need to open up our doors, and we can't be hateful, which is everything that MAGA drive that just goes batshit crazy over.
Yeah. Well, you know, when they're batshit or mad, we're happy. So there's that. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.